Hello. Um, so I thought just to like get a video up, I would do like a little voiceover thing of some clips of some jumping exercises on the horses recently, and not so recently, and tiny little bit of flat work from Cordy, but again, like it sort of helps with jumping. It was meant to be dressage, but I rode super show jumpery. Not that that's like an issue, obviously. All mistakes are left in. My horses take no prisoners, so I kind of can't avoid showing mistakes a lot of the time, just because. Yeah, first horse is obviously my darling Lacey. She, as I've said before, has a problem with canter left because she's got a weakness in her right hind, which means she struggles with the right hind strike off and pushing off of her right hind. So I'm trying to like work on things to strengthen that. Also, her balance on the left rein, it's just not great. So coming to a grid with like a bounce setup off the left rein was super hard work for her, and she did get tired quite quickly because it was hot. But I'm really pleased that I did it, because it just sort of helped her canter start to like naturally like tick and get more jump and rhythm. Obviously her canter still needs a lot of work. It needs to be a bit bigger, a bit stronger, but again that will come, and exercises such as this is going to help. So I guess that's it. So first time round wasn't great. I didn't support her with my outside leg here, so as you can see she's crooked, which means she has this oaf thing going on. This time round was much better, however. You'll see through the turn that I did collapse on my left side instead of like lifting my rib cage to turn. Again, that doesn't help with straightness because it means like there's a lot for my outside leg to do, but I'm really happy with how she went through there. So here she just sort of does a tranter thing because I didn't actually make a decision to hold and support the trot, so I just sort of let her run, which resulted in oaf. I was a bit ahead of Lacey here, which is why she had that pole, but I'm happy with this. One day I'm definitely going to have to dig out clips of how Lacey's canter used to be, because this still doesn't look great, but I can assure you it's leaps and bounds. It does need to be bigger and stronger, but come on, it's so much better. She got close to this, but I'm fine with that because she waited when I told her to, even though she's really not happy about it, as you can see. Well, this was actually Lacey's best time through the grid. Canter was right off the, obviously I rode her away from the fence really well, if I do say so myself. She was straight, she was travelling, I sat up in the middle, I rode her straight away, it was good. Okay, so here the jump being up, it definitely isn't the issue, it's just the fact that she's tired. She's still coming to it really boldly, she's forward, she's straight, she's just tired now. So I was really happy with that. And that's much the same for this last time through. I know a lot of people would be like, totally like, what the hell? You let her finish with a pole down, which obviously you'll see in a minute. But I'm not necessarily jumping her for not hitting poles. I'm jumping her for strengthening her back end, hence the bounces. So I was so thrilled with how she went. Next up is Cordy. In the footage you're about to see, I was just sort of giving him a pop round because I hadn't in a while, so I was expecting him to be like super green and spooky, because if he hasn't jumped in a while he just gets really like, oh my god, it's the pole, and like it freaks him out. But he was really good. I do a lot of jumping from trot. I don't know if people can tell. I just think it's really good for like placing them and helping them learn to sort their own legs out when they get near to a fence. It's just good strengthening and it's good practice to be in. So I start him jumping from a trot and you will see the rest. So Cordy is a little bit of a legend. He has got a massive jump on him, especially when he jumps from a trot, and I have no idea why, which is why I say that it felt really awkward in this. Not that it was awkward, I'm quite happy with how I rode that line because it was quite a weird one off the track. But yeah, really happy with that. His canter is improving a lot, especially when coming to a fence. But up to this next upright, I do let him get quite flat. But at the moment, I'm currently working on not faffing and interfering with him. I want him to get close and I want him to make mistakes so he learns how to figure it out by himself. Cordy had locked on to the other upright instead of the one in the middle, so he was a bit like, what the hell? But it just shows the improvement, because when I put my left leg on to push him away from that jump, he actually listened. And yeah, he's still going forward. It's quite a hard line to ride round to there just because of the way I had set out the jumps. I've done it quite badly, so I'm really pleased with how he took me to that. Up to this, he jumped really well. He was just a little bit flat with his back legs. This one was just horrendous. Like, I have no idea why I didn't follow him because it was an okay stride. He just gave me a really weird feeling into that and didn't feel like he was going anywhere, so I was like trying to wait for him, but yeah, it didn't work out. When I come to it again though, it is much better. Yeah, I just don't know why I did that. It's so bad. But yeah, here, much better. Okay, so next up is some clips of me practicing my walk to canters on Cordy. As you'll see, he's quite tense going into it. He really anticipates things because he's like really intelligent. He's so switched on. His brain, it just is like, blah, blah, blah. It just goes like 1,000,000 miles an hour. So his walk gets really like, and it means he hollows a bit and the transitions and stuff just because he's like, just let me go. That's just him. And he is learning to work through it. But yeah, what I was going to say is being able to do like quick succession walk to canters is really good for helping them sit back on their hocks, which again is going to help you a lot with your jumping. If your horse can like balance and take the weight back under himself, then, you know, you're on the road to some good stuff. Likewise, this was actually meant to be training to like go towards working on my simple changes for dressage. I used to have them nailed, but then he had at least 6 months off. So like everything's very much like a work in progress and like returning him to that point of his training. Yeah, so let's have a look, shall we? So the walk's tension central right now, but it's fine. As you can see, I'm really opening up my right rein just to keep that bend. He does hollow, but a quick pat for him because he still went, which is good boy stuff. I'm really pleased with the rhythm of his canter in this. I think the pace is pretty good. In places, he is a little bit overbent, and I should have just pushed my hands out to his nose a little just to get him to take the stretch out a little more. And you'll see in a second he does hollow, but that's my fault. I didn't support with the outside leg across the diagonal or hold with my core quite enough, which is why this downward transition is so sloppy. Here I'm just trying to settle his walk because, as you can see, he's like, let me out, let me go. So I just want to make sure that he is actually walking with a good length of stride before I put him into the canter transition. Transition was alright. Again, he was a little bit hollow. I'm quite happy with it. As you can see, on this rein, he's a little less balanced. He's a little more scatty and tense. This is his weaker rein, but it is improving. The hollowness is obviously evasion, where he finds this really hard and he gets quite stressed, so he's like, just stop, like just stop. But he does settle into it. This downward transition is definitely not our best. I should have really just popped him straight back into canter and sent him off again, but never mind. Although this time I'm happier with the walk afterwards. This transition would have been amazing had he gone on the right leg, but instead he went on the wrong leg. That is because I didn't position my weight very well over his right hind, which is kind of the signal he needs to pop into canter left. It just like helps him realise which leg he's taking under. As you can see when I do that, this time he does go, but because he was expecting it, he was a bit ratty and a bit like, wah! But Either way, I'm happy. I think this left canter, though tense, is slightly better. There's a bit more swing through his back end. Again, downward transition, horrendous, but it's definitely improving. Now I'm asking Cordy for some more like a quick succession canter trot canter transitions. You'll notice that when the first few times when I bring him back to trot, he's like sort of like that. He looks terrible. I'm not holding him together very well. I'm not keeping the back legs underneath him. He isn't taking the weight back. But as I do more, he does settle and he starts to like keep the hind legs under him and his back a little more lifted as opposed to just hollowing. So really, really pleased with that. So when I set him up for this walked canter in a second, I didn't put my weight over the outside hind, like I said earlier, which resulted in a wrong leg. But I was quite pleased with how quickly I brought him back. And he went off again really nicely, so I'll forgive him and myself for that. So in a second, I get off his back as he's lifting up into me and I want to reward him and praise him for that feeling. Pretty much the second I came off his back, he blew out through his nose, which shows that his core is lifting up. So I'm just going to keep my seat light round here and let him go down into trot so he can stretch through. And you'll see how much better his trot is as I'm letting the reins out and he's really taking the stretch. I mean, he was really pleased with the progress he made in this, so super happy with Cordy. Last but not least, we have Scruffy. In these clips, I was working on his adjustability. So he has a tendency to like see like the sort of the last jump and like he fixes and goes. He's like a cross-country creature. He just wants to go quickly and jump. Like that's his dream. But obviously he's not allowed to. So you need to like really sit up, make him wait and come back to you. The line coming down the centre line was like really difficult because the first jump was so close to the track. So you literally had three short strides as well from the fence to the first jump. so I had my work cut out for me. He was great. There were some stupid mistakes that I made, but he teaches me well. He's a super cool horse, so yeah, enjoy. So with this, I just needed a fraction more canter and to have a better line to the first jump. I came quite angular and it should have been a little more sweeping just so I could ride him positively towards it. However, I am really pleased with this, but as he got so close, he got 5 in instead of 4. But again, I suppose it shows adjustability. That makes me laugh every time. That was awful. But yeah, I didn't have the right canter, so I thought he was going to chip another one in, and I was wrong. This way round was much better. Still not great, but it was better. Finally managed to get it right this time. Spoiler alert. So my line was better, he was travelling a bit more, he came positively down the line without pulling or plunging. Yeah, really pleased. He didn't land in the right leg, but that was my fault. I should have signalled to him over that last jump. Going to this, really nice. And then we come to the oxer. I was just really happy with this whole thing. Here is really annoying because his canter had a lot more pizzazz in it, which meant he lengthened more in landing. And I held him when I could have gone for the 3. Super frustrating, but hey-ho. Right, this is just a shit show. He fell to trot because I didn't support him with the leg round the corner, and then this happened. Yeah. Gotta say though, he came back round to it again totally unfazed, as did I. And he jumped great, so we finished there. Background change, I'm now in my room. So that's the end of the video. I'm, I guess, like, pleased with my riding in that. Obviously there are a lot of mistakes, as I said at the start. But in all of them, I know exactly where I went wrong, and in pretty much all of them, I managed to rectify them. So there was like some level of saving going on. If they had just been left as mistakes, I would have been like, ah. I hope you enjoyed that, I guess. I suppose I'm just going to watch this back for when I'm like, need to learn how to sort myself out. But yeah, really pleased. Thanks for watching, if you did. If you didn't, have a good day.